Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Goldie, your microphone is
Good evening, madam.
Good evening. Can we start the session?
Yes, you can start.
How many of them are there?
Good evening, madam. Goldie, your
Yes,
microphone
ma'am, you can start, ma'am.
Okay, today's session actually is on. I don't have a PPT for this, but we would like to. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you. Okay, dismiss. All right, I'm unable to share my screen, but actually, if you look at uh, mm, your block 4 on monitoring, the today's session is on monitoring. Okay, has anybody gone through the rules of BMW? Has anybody looked at the rules of BMW? Is anybody aware of the rules? Yes. I need to understand if anybody has gone through the biomedical waste management rules. Please, I need a response or else I won't be able to look at. Yes. Can somebody respond? Are you online or you're not online? Okay. What is there in the biomedical waste management rules? Oh, does anybody know about the rules of biomedical waste management? I think you had a session already on this, if I'm right. Well, let's understand. Okay, before we go about talking about anything else, let me understand what is monitoring. Anybody who knows what is monitoring? Yes. What is monitoring? Now, if you do not respond, there's no point of me taking a session here. I need somebody to respond. What do you mean by monitoring? Can somebody talk? There's Miss Meenal, Nivedita, Shweta, Bhavna. None of you know what is monitoring? I'm not asking any technical question. It's a normal English question. What do you understand by the word monitoring?
Monitoring means just to monitor, just to look out him.
Yeah, monitoring means just to have an overlook to see whether it is going in the right direction or not. Right?
Okay, right.
Huh? Is that right? So, what do you understand by monitoring in biomedical waste management here? Who does the monitoring, when they should do, how they should be going about doing it? All these things is coming under monitoring. Now, do you understand that who is the regulatory authority for us for biomedical waste management? Yes? Who is the regulatory authority for us? Who regulates the implementation of biomedical waste management? Who takes care of it? I'm not talking about the hospital, I'm talking about the rules 2016. Have you read through the biomedical waste management rules of 2016? It's not CPCB, it is the state. CPCB has a role in providing guidelines. Guidelines is what is provided by CPCB. In the sense, they give how it should be maintained, what are the parameters that you need to achieve in case of incineration, in case of an autoclave, how segregation needs to be done, how disinfection needs to be done, and how transportation, collection, all the guidelines are given by CPCB. But implementing agency will be, the regulatory authority for every state will be the State Pollution Control Board. It's a state pollution control board which looks after the implementation of the rules of biomedical waste management. Am I clear here? Okay, and states and their respective SPCBs. Some places it will be pollution control boards. If it is under a central government one, it will be the. So this is all fine with all the state level public healthcare facilities and private facilities. What about army and other specific facilities which come directly under central government, DGHS or Directorate of Health and Health Sciences under the central government? They have a separate monitoring facilities. They do have their own hierarchy for them to monitor how biomedical waste management systems are being how the waste is being managed, who is looking at it. Now, who are our stakeholders for biomedical waste management? Stakeholders means those who have a impact on the activities that are being done for biomedical waste management. Who are all the stakeholders here? Yes. If any decision is taken regarding biomedical waste management, who is affected? Who are the major producers of biomedical waste management? Come on, I need you guys to answer me.
Ma'am, in the hospital superintendent.
Okay, the hospitals are the ones are the major producers of biomedical waste management. Then, when you look at biomedical waste management as a whole, who are the ones whom do we call as stakeholders? One is the hospital, and who else do you want to involve here?
Senior administrative, ma'am.
Stakeholders, huh?
Uh, Senior administrative.
No, there are people which are there who are there in the hospital itself. I'm asking who will be in general the stakeholders for any biomedical waste management systems. One is the hospital. In the hospital, it will be the senior administrative officers who are there in the hospital. Then who
Outside
else?
the outside the hospital, ma'am.
Huh?
Outside the hospital.
Yes, outside the hospital. Whom are you talking about? Senior administrative. You mean to say the local municipality?
Municipal commissioner.
Okay, municipal commissioner, fine. They may not be stakeholders, they could be helping in monitoring. Then who else do you think are the stakeholders here? Apart from the hospitals are the ones who generate. Who takes care of treating and disposal? Who takes care of treating and disposal of biomedical waste management?
Ma'am, treatment centers.
They are called as common biomedical waste
Yeah.
management, waste treatment centers. So
Right.
they people who manage the CBWTF is what we call it as biomedical waste management treatment facilities. Then who else are the stakeholders here? The hospitals, the people who provide healthcare, people who help in disposal or treating of these biomedical waste management things. Then the general public also can be the stakeholders in terms of looking at it, and the administrative staff, the local governing bodies, local bodies. It could be municipality, it could be corporation, or even it could be the village panchayat also, right? Now, what happens in a hospital if you look at monitoring? Monitoring means what is to have a eye over whatever activities that are being done. Now, what will happen when somebody is observing you? When
Uh,
somebody is observing you do something, what will happen?
less chances of this
Mistakes, or the mistakes get corrected,
corrected.
right? It's the less chances that the mistakes happen, or the mistakes get corrected then, right? And most of them will adhere to it. It is something like this: if there is a policeman standing at the traffic intersection, everybody will follow the traffic rules. And if there is no policeman standing at the traffic intersection, even if there is a red light, if there is no other person over there, then probably they may jump the light and go ahead, not realizing what could be the impact of such kind of actions. All right. So for us, monitoring is very important. As long as we are under watch, we tend to perform, or we tend to follow the rules and abide by the rules. So now we have two aspects here. We have one, the hospital, where lot of waste is generated by the hospital. Two, the common treatment facility person who looks at who's the one who's handling or who's treating the waste and sending it to the final disposal place. Right? Between the two of them, we need to have a monitoring to see both of them function properly or not. Okay, now for us to look at the hospital setup, let's look at the hospital setup here. What sort of monitoring mechanisms are there in each of your hospitals? Do they even monitor for the for biomedical waste management, whether biomedical waste management is carried out properly or not? Do they look at it? Is there a committee, or is there an appointed person who looks after these things? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. There is a ma'am chairman
Hmm.
who is can monitoring over each and everything,
Hmm.
and most of the infection control team
Hmm.
and maintenance and cleaning department
Hmm.
and the segregation department
Hmm.
and collection department and transporting department
Hmm.
and and all training department for which who will taking care for the training of this staff for
Okay,
this.
so you have the nursing staff, or even say for example the infection control committee department also, which infection control committee, which might look at the infection, and biomedical waste management committees can be a part of it. So there are people, that means every hospital has got a set of people who will overlook into the implementation of biomedical waste. That means what is it in a hospital that they have to look or monitor whether biomedical waste is being implemented properly or not. In the hospital, what is it that they need to look at? Now, you understand what are the components of any waste management system here? Any waste management system, what are the components? You have segregation, you have containment, then you have transportation, then
Storage.
treatment and disposal. right? These are the storage or containment or storage. These are the these are the most common components of any waste management system. So in a hospital, what is it that they need to monitor if they want to implement biomedical waste management rules to the T? That means if they want to if they do not want any of the pollution control board officials to come and say this is not proper, this is not proper, what is it that they need to monitor, and how frequently they need to monitor, and who will monitor, and how they will do it? Yes, somebody who can give me inputs on this. Come on, I need you people to talk. This is not rocket science. This is not something very technical. It is something which you would have experienced. Yes, if you talk quickly, then I can end quickly. If you do not want to talk, then it will take a longer time for me to finish the session.
Ma'am, as discussed previously, there is a committee and there is appointed person who is taking care for the monitoring on the basis of yearly, the monthly basis or the weekly basis.
I really cannot hear anything. One thing I didn't understand what you said. Why is it that nobody else is
Hello,
participating except for Mr. Pavan Mishra? That means to say the others are just online and not hearing to anything here. Or I do see some chat box. All right, you had said storage, training, hospital, healthcare versus some of them you have written it in chat. Okay. Now, what is it that we need to monitor in a hospital? I told you the components. Which of the components is important for us to monitor in a hospital? Yes,
uh,
somebody responded segregation. Very good. Shweta Murali has responded it as segregation. Yes. How do you look for segregation is being done properly or not?
ma'am, by monitoring over this,
No, that's a monitoring only. You're monitoring segregation, but how are you going to know whether segregation is being done properly or not? When are you going to look at it? How are you going to look at it? How do you assess that segregation is being done?
by checking the where is the collections, if they are
By checking
collected in
into.
the yellow and the blue product is in the yellow
Hmm.
or the yellow product in the blue, there
Hmm.
is not a good segregation. It is not correctly,
Hmm.
and there's a can evaluation, and we can go for the correction and
Hmm.
make out this mark for the next time and make or go for the training for
Very good,
patients.
very good. So what we need to look at here is segregation part of it. When you look at segregation part, we know there are four color coded bins, right? You have red, yellow, red, blue, and white translucent punch-proof container. Now, in segregation, whatever, as per the rules, whatever kind of category of waste that is there should go into their respective categories of waste. That means I should not find a needle in an yellow bin, right? I should not find IV tubings or Eurosac or Eurobag in an yellow bin. Then I should not find any rubber gloves or any other things in yellow bin. I should not be finding the same rubber gloves or IV tubings in a blue bin, right? Or I should not find the needle in any of these yellow, red, or blue. Right. This is what I need to look at. But what is more important for us for segregation here? Suppose I find a needle in yellow bin. How do you rate the segregation? Is it good? Is it bad? Or it
Ma'am,
should be improved?
with the red mark,
That means it is not appropriate.
yeah.
Needle should be there in the white translucent container. It should not be outside anywhere else. And the chances are likely that needle can cause an injury and cause infectious diseases for many of them. So finding a needle in any other place other than the white translucent means that segregation is improper. Sometimes you might feel that there could be a mix up of ways that can happen, right? Somebody by mistake, instead of putting it to the yellow bin, would have put it into the red bin, or red bin to blue bin, or some such kind of a thing. Okay, which one are you going to take it very seriously, or which one you are going to give corrective actions and keep quiet? Where you are going to punish and where you are not going to punish people? How will you do that kind of a monitoring? Yes. Okay, give proper training to the staff is a good one, but then,
First, identify where is the problem, in
hmm,
which end the problem is occurred. Then we
hmm,
can go and correcting for that and marking. If
hmm.
it is needed for the correction of the staff training, then we go for this staff training. Otherwise, whatever the problem, we can assess and solve it.
Yeah, you're right. Now, what we need to look at here is if there is a minor mix up, or first time you see a mix up of waste in certain bins, then probably you would give them a warning and then give them proper training and then leave them alone. Second time the same things happen, you can give another warning. Third time you can give another warning. Fourth time, if it repeats the same thing, then you need to take certain strict action so that they don't repeat it. One of the worst mistakes in segregation that anybody can do is putting biomedical waste into the general waste, general solid waste. That is the worst thing. That means to say what most of the general waste which can be easily handled, all of them will become biomedical waste, and then that will be a problem for us to handle. More of biomedical waste is generated or needs to be handled when such kind of mix up happens. So you need to be really careful in terms of mixing up of waste. See, anything that goes into the yellow goes in for incineration. So if it is something which can be incinerated, fine, fair enough. You, even if there is a mix up, probably you would excuse, but you cannot excuse if there is biomedical waste found in a general waste, or general waste and biomedical waste, it goes for the treatment and it should not be a problem. But biomedical waste and general waste, you will have large quantity of general waste becoming biomedical waste. So care need to be taken there. What do you think should be the frequency of monitoring in a hospital? Should we do
Ma'am,
it?
in the ward level, we can be monitoring daily basis.
Okay.
Can be hindering or minimizes the all the aspect of by the 30% by the daily basis monitoring.
Okay, so you can have a pattern in the sense in certain high areas where default can happen. In those places, you can have a daily monitoring system that is there. In places where most of the people do follow, then you can have weekly or fortnightly or monthly, depending on your convenience. You can have a team of people who actually go to different places and then see whether the segregation is being done properly or not. Apart from segregation, you also need to look at other aspects in terms of labeling, in terms of barcoding, transportation of these things to the storage place. And another thing we should keep in mind is that even in the storage area, segregation should be maintained. You cannot take it for granted just because at the point of generation segregation is being done. Even at the point at storage space also segregation will be maintained. So these are some of the things which you need to keep in mind whenever you're looking out for, whenever you're monitoring the biomedical waste management systems in a hospital. Does the hospital responsibility end with only with the premises of the hospital, or does it continue to the common treatment facility also? They can also visit to the common treatment facility to find out how the waste is being managed at the common treatment facility. Even when they are transporting it to the common treatment facility, they need to see whether the segregation is being maintained or not. Now, there is something called as barcoding that is very important for us, because the barcoding determines who, from where that waste is being there, whether they have handed over that waste to the common treatment facility person. Who has handled that waste is something which you will be able to trace back. If at all there is a problem of spillage, or if at all there is a problem of pilferage that happens in between the point where it has been picked up till the treatment area. Okay, so that is the reason why we are insisting on having a barcode and a system where you can track the waste from the point of generation to the disposal and treatment facility.
Ma'am, I have one query.
Hmm.
Ma'am, in the hospital in charge of chair who is taking the for this monitoring
Hmm.
can be visited for the CVWT to
What?
CWFT
Yeah. What is it? Your question is? Can be?
uh, go and monitoring in the this common treatment plan.
Hmm. No, no. You don't need to monitor, but you can go and ask for permission to see how the common treatment facility is how the common treatment facility is actually handling the waste. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, suddenly my screen went blank. That's the reason why. Okay, so I can definitely look for it, but I'm not entitled to monitor it. I can go and report to the State Pollution Control Board if the common treatment facility person does not lift the waste from my premises, from the hospital premises on time, right? If and the common treatment facility person can also report to the Pollution Control Board if the hospital does not give segregated waste to them. So both ways it is possible for us. So when you are looking at monitoring within the hospital, you can have a pattern. In the sense, you can have a group of people, usually the nursing staff, one faculty member, or any members from the HICC, waste management officer, depending on the capacity, how big the hospital is or how small the hospital is. You can have designate one person to do the rounds and see, check whether segregation is being done properly or not. This is one way of looking at it. The frequency can be based on the convenience. It could be once a week, it could be once in a fortnight, or once a month. But just monitoring and identifying the mistakes is not enough. You need to take corrective actions over there. The corrective actions can be in terms of facilities, can be in terms of people getting trained. Both needs to be done, because sometimes if you do not give them the adequate um, bins and liners, they won't be able to segregate. If you don't give them adequate ties where the things can be tied or taken around, no personal protective equipment is not given, all these things can be looked at. So, corrective actions should be done, not just monitoring them. Now, let us see how, in the common treatment facility, what is it that we need to know about. Now, in the common treatment facility, though it might not come under the hospital, but it is good to know that there are certain technologies that we use in the common treatment facility for treatment and disposal of waste. One is the incineration, two is the autoclave, three shredder, and for sharps it is encapsulation and sending it to the landfill. So, in general, in most of the common treatment facilities, these are the things that they do, and these are approved by the State Pollution Control Board as the approved technologies for us to treat waste, especially biomedical waste. Now, when you look at the incinerator, what do you think that we should be monitoring? Suppose you get a chance to just go and look at the common treatment facility, or to say you are a part of the monitoring team in your board. So, what is it that we need to look at in a common treatment facility? One, we need to look at how the premises is, whether it is neatly maintained or not, or waste is present in all over the place. Now we need to look at monitoring of all these technologies, whatever I have mentioned, be it incineration, be it autoclave, be it a shredder, or handing over to a authorized recycler, or going sending it to a sanitary landfill. Okay, now what does the pollution control board say? The regulatory authorities, it has given guidelines and parameters for monitoring of common biomedical waste treatment. Now, just not those technologies, it actually looks at how much waste the hospital has given to the all the hospitals put together have given to the common treatment facility person, and how much waste the common treatment facility person has actually treated. There should not be a gap between what is being sent and what is being treated and disposed of. So, how much ever they receive, the same amount of waste needs to be treated and disposed of appropriately. That is one method of monitoring, to look at there is no pilferage or there is no hanky panky that is going on between there. Okay, so weight that is generated and weight that is weight that is treated and monitored. Now, when you look at an incinerator, what are the things that we need to look for? We need to look for how the temperatures are being monitored or not, how the temperatures are being maintained. What is the temperature in the primary chamber and what is the temperature in the secondary chamber? These are all fitted with electronic things, which there is
Now,
an
when your
online.
screen is black, is it there is any presentation? No?
What?
When your screen is blank,
Okay, you mean to say the smoke is black?
yeah, that one is
Uh,
only
that
voice
means it has
is
got lot of more carbonated materials that are there. They also look at, they also measure. There are certain parameters to look at the what is it that is being released in the smoke, and what is being if you look at the incinerator, there are two: primary chamber is there, secondary chamber is there, and then the gases which go up are actually cooled, and whatever particulate matter is there, that comes down. There is a constant flow of water, and in that water it comes down, and it is sent to an ETP in the common treatment facility, where it is treated in the ETP, and then the sludge is disposed of to a landfill. Okay, so even the what you call the smoke the chimney should is around 30 meters high, or the smoke outlet, what we call them as the uh, out, that is 30 meters high, and they collect the smoke that comes out from there at certain points to look for whether there is any mm, uh, dioxins and furans that are present in there. So all these things are being monitored, and every common treatment facility should give these reports. Just like how a hospital has to maintain the effusion or the STP discard, whatever discharge is tested for biological and as well as chemical properties, they do the same thing even at the CBWTF also. These things, these records have to be maintained by the common treatment facility person. This shows how efficient their systems are working. So therefore, these are the things that they are generally monitored. Okay. Now, if you look at, that is with regard to a common treatment facility autoclave. They have the number of, I mean, the degree of temperature that is being maintained, and how long the temperature is being maintained within the autoclave. These are some of the things which they record and keep it. And these are not something that they do it on once in a while only when the inspector or somebody who's looking at it comes and monitors. No, it is an online mechanism. Daily the pollution control board gets these informations from each of the common treatment facilities. It is online monitoring of the emissions and uh, emissions and the temperature monitoring of the incinerators and autoclaves. They have a system where they are monitored on a daily basis. Okay. Then the next thing what we need to look at here is the autoclaves, and then you have the sharps. Sharps, at the most, what they can do is they have to encapsulate it, put it into cement blocks, and then give it out for landfills. These are the options what we have for um, sharps. Okay, so now the another question what we have, this is, if you look at one hospital and one common treatment facility, this is what needs to be done. But in a district, if you look at it, there will be so many hospitals, not just big hospitals. You have small hospitals, you have primary health centers, you have clinics, you have veterinary hospitals, Ayush hospitals, all of them are there. Now, who does the monitoring of all these facilities? Anybody?
Ma'am, district level monitoring committees
Ah,
person.
very good. As per the biomedical waste management rules, there is a state level committee, which advisory committee, which advises the government on the mechanisms of how to go about biomedical waste management. At every district, there is a district level monitoring committee. Who are all there in the district level monitoring committee?
Medical officer, ma'am.
Medical officer.
Yeah.
Then,
A state pollution person.
okay, representatives from the regional centers of regional state pollution control boards.
PCCP. Yeah.
Ah,
And
SPCC. Yeah, then
municipal commissioner department one person.
municipal commissioner or the magistrate is the head which looks after this. Then
One doctors association person appointed for this.
nodal officer of
Nodal.
biomedical waste,
Yeah.
member secretary. Then
Ma'am, most of these
not
are.
member secretary at the district level. It is the uh, what is his name? The magistrate. District
Yeah.
magistrate
DM. Yeah, DM also the mem committee member.
is the one who looks after this.
District commissioner or the additional DM.
Okay, so uh,
पीछे से सबके साउंड्स आ रही है बैकग्राउंड साइड्स आ रही है मैम म्यूट कर
what?
देंगे देयर इज अ नॉइस ऑफ द बैकग्राउंड
I didn't get you. There is a
मैम किसी के माइक्स ओपन हैं उसकी साउंड आ रही है
there is sound you were telling me. Okay, are you able to hear me or not?
मैम योर वॉइस इज द क्लियर आ रही है
Oh,
पीछे
your
से
background noise is there. It is from outside. I
या
can't.
क्लासरूम देयर इज अ क्लासरूम देयर ओपन देयर
Yeah, there's a class going on. The other persons are talking, so therefore I can't really help that. But okay, so this is what is the that it is manned by the magistrate who heads. He's the chairperson. There will be a secretary. Actually, it is not the medical officer. It's the district health officer who is the part of the monitoring committee at the district level. It's a district level monitoring committee. The district health officer is there. Then you also have members from representative members from any of the non-governmental organizations. Then you also have people who are working in their general public also can be taken. Any influencers or the citizens of importance, they can also, they might also be a part. If there is a medical college, people, representatives from the medical college can also be a part. Government medical college can also be a part of the IMA. Representatives from IMA are the ones who also are a part of the district monitoring committee. Now, looking at the way, looking at every district, if you look at it, I don't know where you all belong to, but if you look at your own district, how many hospitals do you think you have, and how many smaller clinics is what you have that needs to be monitored? Do you have an idea? Do you really know how many hospitals are there in a district that should be monitored? All the others have muted their microphones. It is my microphone only. There is a background noise for me, which I'm really not able to help it. I'm sorry about this. Though the room is closed, I'm having a problem here. Okay, now tell me, do you have an idea as to how many healthcare facilities are there in a district? In your own districts, you can tell me. Where do you think you will get this information from?
From the PCC
From the
and Pollution Control Board, and from the CMO office, from
From
the
the
district.
CMO office of the district. Why should the CMO have the number of hospitals with him?
And he can be able, and because he is the person who can monitoring of the healthcare facility.
No, 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 no. Actually, I'm not sure if this is there in every other state or not. But now, in our state and in Maharashtra, though it is definitely there, that any hospital that needs to start, any clinic that needs to start, has to get permission from the district health officers. They have to get an authorization to start a health center, be it a small clinic or a big hospital. Okay, so under whether it is private or government, it is a district health officer who will have the list of all the facilities that are there in the hospital. They give the license to start the hospital only when they have a liaison with the common treatment facility. Okay, the state pollution control board will have, see, no authorization. Whoever has asked for authorization, they can have the list of their. You usually under the Private Medical Establishments Act, uh, all the medical establishments needs to be registered. So from there, we'll definitely get the list of all the hospitals that are there. Then the district health officer can also have some of the list of this, the same thing. Then the state pollution control board can have the list of hospitals who have asked for authorization under BMW. So both the lists can be compared to get the number of healthcare facilities that are there in the district. Now my problem is, I just have around 6 or 7 people in the monitoring committee, and I am expected to monitor around 100 to 200 or even more than that facilities in a district. And if you understand, each district might have 5 to 6 talukas or subdivisions, and in these each of the subdivisions there might be so many hospitals and other things. So how do you think the monitoring committee can be effectively monitoring all the healthcare establishments here? Who should play a role here? Suppose the monitoring committee is unable to look out for all of them. How do you think we can monitor everybody else in the district to look to see that biomedical waste management is implemented appropriately. Yes? Anybody? Any solutions for this? I just have 5 to 6 people here. One from Pollution Control Board, one from District Health Officer, the District Magistrate. The District Magistrate cannot go and monitor all these things. It's impossible for them. They're already bogged down by a lot of stuff that is going on. So, how do you think? How do you expect that these things will be monitored by the district level monitoring committee? Do they have a plan? Do they have a plan of action as to who will monitor, how they will monitor? Is there any way that can be outsourced or somebody else can monitor for them? How do you think we should go about doing this?
Yes, ma'am. These are the persons who are can taking for the monitoring,
Mm,
the committee for the making the these rules and regulations.
mm,
But the other persons he can be appointed for the outsiding agencies or the NGOs who can be
mm,
taking care for of monitoring in
mm,
the town level.
mm,
So they can be appointed as a third party, and
mm.
they are providing some subsidence of the employee, and they can go and collecting the data from the different types of the hospital
Yes.
and clinics, and they can be overlooking all this collecting data
Yeah.
and assessing all these things,
Yeah.
and can whatever the outcomes they and the red marks, then
Mm.
they can be monitoring and giving a notification on that.
Exactly, but that doesn't happen that way. It
Sorry.
is very nice to talk like this and look for solutions as to how they should go about monitoring. But the reality is that many of us do not even know that there is a district level monitoring committee that is existing,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
their job is to monitor, and they have to provide the report to the state level advisory committee, the state level monitoring committee, and there is an advisory committee also. So they also suggest certain changes that needs to be done at the district level and at the state level. What are the decisions that need to be taken? So therefore, both have to work together, both the state level monitoring committee and the advisory committee and the district level monitoring committee also. The state level monitoring committee is headed by the member secretary of the MOEFCC. He is the person who looks after it. And our problem here that comes, whether it is monitoring or whether it is implementation, is most of the implementation is done by the health and family welfare department, right? But monitoring is there is no coordination between these two departments actually. MOEFCC says something, and sometimes the health and family welfare decides on certain things. So therefore, that coordination itself is so very difficult for, especially in the government setup, to get them across and see that this is being implemented appropriately. Okay, so these are if you look at your module block 4, it actually there is a what is that a pro forma that is given in terms of how it is being monitored, in what are all the aspects that they monitor. And actually these regulatory framework, they have given how, at what um, uh, frequencies that they have to monitor. Actually, they have, in some places they don't need to go on a daily basis or a monthly basis. They can just check the records. Record keeping is important for them, so therefore they need to check at the HCF. What is it that they look is general information, biomedical waste management sources, if there is any on-site treatment that is done, what is the status of infrastructure, record keeping, monitoring frequency within the hospital, disposal of waste through common treatment facility, and recommendations. So this is what is the generally monitoring results carried out by SPCB and PCC. This is what, there is a checklist that is there. If you can go through table 16.1, the checklist is given there. Who manages it? Everything is there in your reading material that is there. and storage is also considered, and every category of waste, how much is being generated, is also there. Pre-treatment, how they are doing, this is also taken into consideration. If the hospital has any on-site treatment, that is also monitored. But most of the hospitals do not have any on-site treatment. Some of them do have in remote areas. So if you look at the common treatment facilities, there is a checklist for that also. For that, they look at name of the CBTP, CBWTF, when it has been visited, where is the location, when it was established, who is operating it, how many healthcare facilities come under that CBTF, and what is the treatment capacity of the CBWTF, whether there is an environmental clearance that is available, do they have a valid license for Water Act and Air Act, and authorization for BMW rules, how much has been the investment for setting it up, and what is their coverage, what is the cost that is charged to the healthcare facility, what is the daily operating schedules, how much quantity of incinerable waste they are handling it, how much is the quantity of autoclavable waste, and who are the staff, are they incineration capacity is taken, what is the make, and whether there's air pollution control devices fitted or not, what is the operation schedule, how much is the temperature in the primary chamber, secondary chamber, flue gases parameters are also looked at, stack, what is the diameter, what is the height above, monitoring provisions whether it is there in the stack or not, capacity of the autoclave, what sort of an autoclave is there, how much, what is the kg per hour, what is the make, if there is a shredder, how much kg per hour, whether it is self designed or whether it is taken by somebody else, uh, what, how about the vehicle for transportation, what is the source of water, and details of their effluent treatment plant and the effluent condition also, all these things are. And apart from this, they also look at whether there is a first aid box, whether there is a washing room, is there a security guard, is there a separate administrative room which looks at which there is a place for record keeping, firefighting emergency facilities are there, all these aspects are also looked at. Even collection and transport, how is the vehicle maintained, do they have spillage, okay, and the treated waste, where is disposing, if they are disposing it off to a recycler, who is the authorized recycler, does that person have the authorization to take it. Okay, the and what is that? Monitoring details are also taken in terms of the effluent as well as the stack. So all these aspects are looked at whenever they are looking at monitoring, especially the common treatment facility. Even in the hospital, most of the aspects, whatever we said here, are also looked at. And the frequency might be infrequent, but they definitely have an idea. They have to physically verify certain aspects. Online records are what are being monitored in certain places, in certain hospitals, and in certain things, at least once a month they go and visit physically there, whether they are doing it properly or not. And one more thing, they might have identified certain people who are defaulters and who do not comply with these rules. They tend to go back to them to check whether they are compliant or not. So these are some of the things which they do it on a regular basis, the district level monitoring committee. If the district level monitoring committees are functioning well, then the state level monitoring committee will it will be easier for them to formulate the policies, it will be easier for them to formulate the monitoring mechanisms for the state level monitoring committee. So this is a nutshell about monitoring. If you are involved in any of the monitoring activities within your own premises or in your hospitals, please make a checklist with regard to segregation. See for each of the segregation, yellow bin, is there a mix up present or not? Red bin, if there is a mix up. Blue bin, if there is a mix up. So blue and the white. So all these mix-ups are there or not. And one more thing, sometimes the mix-up may not be there, but it will be very badly managed, overflowing of the bins. Waste is being lying all over the place. These kind of things also need to be monitored, and it can be corrected within the system if whether the record keeping is appropriate or not. That means every hospital should have record of how much category of waste that is generated. Do they have it? Do they have records of people who have been trained under biomedical waste management? Do they have records of people who have received the tetanus or hepatitis B vaccination that has to be given to any of the healthcare facility persons who are working in biomedical waste? Do they have records of all these things? How frequently the training has been happening? All this record maintenance is also some of the things which you can monitor, right, in a within a hospital. All right, any clarifications that you have? Do you have any yes, do you have any clarifications to ask me? No clarifications? Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, there is a PCC monitoring authority person is taking care of the health department.
No, they have both. The monitoring committee has both. Now the monitoring committee can decide. They can call for they can ask the report from the monitoring reports of the health facilities to be submitted to them.
Ma'am, pollution board is governing by the central body, but
What?
the ma'am, pollution board is governing by the central
No,
government,
no. So, pollution control board, there are two things. One is the central pollution control board. The other one is the state pollution control board.
right?
The state pollution control board is the one which monitors in the particular state.
Okay.
Okay, the central pollution control board, its authority is to bring out guidelines. And in some places where there is no state pollution control board, where there is a central government rule or union territories, there the pollution control boards or pollution control units, they are the ones who monitor them.
Ma'am, my question is both roles are different or both are working as a coordinator?
Which one?
Peace, state pollution board or the health committee?
Oh, you mean to say in the monitoring committee, both of them will be together?
Okay. Either anyone go and check or
Yeah,
the
that the committee can decide. The committee can decide and say the health people will check this or the pollution control board people will check this. They can decide. It is usually the health officials which do the monitoring for the healthcare facilities.
because ma'am,
What?
today's newspaper we have I'm just studying.
Hmm.
Then in the Kanpur there is a common treatment, but
Hmm.
this is a burning the whole the wastage. So
Hmm.
there's a but the committee is looking for the pollution board.
Huh? See, for common treatment facility, it is better the pollution control board people go,
Yeah,
because there are more of technology that is involved there.
right. Thank you, ma'am.
So it's preferred that the in the CBWTF it is pollution control people, and in the healthcare facilities it can be the health officials who can go and do the monitoring. Sometimes the pollution control board people can also come here. It is not hard and fast rules that they should not go here or come here. Have I answered your question, Mr. Pawan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I got that.
Okay. Thank you. If there are no questions, then I'll end the meet. Yes. I don't think there are any questions. There is nothing in the chat box either. Thank you for a patient hearing. Thank you. We will call it a day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.